Hello, thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate the 5th issue of Hi, a literary journal. My name is Hua, and I am the president of Hi. I will be your MC along with treasurer Brandon Xiong. Before we start, we would like to tell you a little bit about Hi. Hi seeks to create a space to reaffirm, encourage, and help professionalize Hmong writers and other underrepresented writers. We encourage writers to become active participants in documenting their stories in a system that has historically left voices like ours behind. We seek to foster community and creativity. We also seek to be a welcoming space for members to write, share, and receive feedback in their work. At this time, we'd like to acknowledge a moment to offer non-acknowledgements. The Fresno State campus is located in the heart of the central San Joaquin Valley, a valley rich in the traditions and representations of indigenous peoples and cultures. We are privileged to live and work in the traditional homelands of the Yokuts and Mono peoples, whose tribal communities remain here and share stewardship over this land. Along with that acknowledgement, we would like to take this time to thank the following for making tonight's event possible. The Fresno State Instructionally, can I repeat that? I'm sorry. That was so bad. The Fresno State Instructionally Related Activities Fund, the English Department, and the Creative Writing Program, Dean Honora Trapman of College of Arts and Humanities, Dr. Melanie Hernandez, Chair of the English Department, Jefferson Beavers and Lisa Galvez in the English Department. Thank you, Jefferson, for going above and beyond to help us set up with our tech. Give a hand of applause. Jefferson, thank you.
Anything.
Along with Professor Maider Vang, our faculty advisor, who has given us much advice and wisdom on how to move forward and hold this launch for you all. So it's in part possible to Maider, thanks to Maider. So thank you, Maider. We would also like to give special thanks to the following: President Saul Jimenez Sandoval, Associate Dean Sergio de la Porta of the College of Arts and Humanities, and I would also like to thank my fellow officers, Isabella Dallatorre, who is the Vice President of Hi, and Victoria Dallatorre, who is our social media manager. So all the posts you see on Instagram are coming from Victoria, so thank you, Victoria. And also Brandon, who is kind of our spokesperson because he's the most extroverted and talkative out of all of us. Yeah. We would also like to thank Terry Tao, the cover artist for this year's journal. Thank you, Terry. And Terry is also giving out free prints of their artwork tonight. We're very thankful for your generosity. And we're also joined tonight by the original Hi founders, Jer, New, and Ye in the crowd right here. Raise your hands. Raise them. Thank you for all of your hard work on getting this club started. And we would also like to thank the members of Hawk tonight who helped lay out the foundation for what Hi is today. And a final thanks to all the contributors who made the 5th issue of Hi, a literary journal, possible. Also, please keep in mind that we will be recording this event for future viewing and documentation purposes. Now I would like to welcome Brandon to introduce our readers for tonight.
Okay, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. So our first reader of the night is going to be David R. Carrasco.
Hello, everybody. Hello, good evening. Thank you for having me. This is quite the honor for me to be up here reading. I really appreciate our Hmong friends and neighbors. They really are a big contribution to the culture of our city and our valley, so just all about celebrating and preserving this space, for Hmong writers and for other underrepresented voices in our community. So we'd love to say that first. I'm going to read you 2 quick poems tonight, okay? Got you real fast here. On paper? Oh, okay. The first one is entitled Cathedral Carved into a Sleeping Man's Thigh. In a cavernous cathedral carved into a sleeping man's thigh, Thelonious sphere Trismegistus twinkles thought patterns into flickering candlelight. Women materialize out of moldering clay palaces. Shadow flesh of moonlight, partial and penitent figures cry, all clay this boom cathedral. At the dreaming hoof, sleeping foot, Kilimanjaro conjuring, night hoof, St. Helens, real blam, ooh la la. No. Real beef, real boom. Real hunga tonga, hunga ha'apai, swip kick your daydream, dry land loving ass, foot, mouth, pulverized and baptized flippers and fins, and the women are clay pools of bioluminescence, flow upon the altar, leave new iron melodies, glinting shards of fire song, individual blows of the hammer on the string. All right, next one more quick one and I'll get out of your hair. This one is entitled Mea Invicta Luna. I see violent men around me, adorned in void fear, cordite cologne, endless mutated flags. Soon the vine will fill and the fruit ripen. Soon my life wetted and pressed against the face of a new American autumn. I clutched the jewel-encrusted hilt of my life, obscured against my breast, resolution, a breath into her. Thank you, everybody.
All right, that was awesome. Thank you so much, David. So our next reader is going to be CJ Brady.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel so welcomed by the community here, and it's so great just to be with people that I've known in many classes, many trips, many jobs. I'm going to be reading Jones's Body. It's on page 119 of the journal. I saw his body floating in the pool. In the dusk, the water was dark, but his body was even darker. As soon as my brain even started to recognize what I was seeing, I turned and fled through the back gate because I was scared, so scared that darkest of all, if I saw them, would be his eyes. Or maybe I should say, the eyes of his body. He was gone already. I was so scared I would see exactly that. The deep, deep blackness of empty eyes under the water. Now, a week later, sometimes a towel over a chair in the backyard flutters, or a bird wing catches my eye, and I think it's him, and it's not, because he's gone and gone, and he's gone and gone, and I knew it and all the horror of it in 1 second in the dusk, and wanted not to.
All right, thank you so much for reading that, CJ. Valentino is next, and I'm not going to say your full name because that's difficult. So Valentino Hernandez, welcome him.
Hello, everyone. Like many of us, I'm graduating this semester, and I'm thankful that my last reading will be with Highs. I'm honored to be here. I will be reading a short story called The Cheese Seller. I hope you enjoy. On Clinton and Valentine, there's a cheese seller who sells all kinds of exotic cheese, from the usual goat or sheep cheese to donkey or buffalo cheese, and even cheese made from alligator milk. She sells it all. If she doesn't have the cheese you want, you just tell her and a week later she has it. One customer once asked for kangaroo cheese, and a week later he got to try it. It was fatty. One morning, the cheese seller was setting up shop when a little boy came running by. He was very scared, so the cheese seller asked him why he was so scared. The little boy answered, "My evil stepmom hates me, and she's come to beat me. Would you please hide me?" The cheese seller said, "Of course," and hid the little boy underneath the table. Not a moment too late, as the stepmom appeared. She stopped and asked the cheese seller, "Have you seen my stepson run by?" The cheese seller replied, I may have not. If you buy some of my goat cheese, I will tell you where you went." Angry, the stepmom bought some goat cheese. Not knowing what it would taste like, she took such a tiny, itty little bitty bite it would put a mouse to shame. It tasted good. The cheese seller pointed at Valentine and said, "He went that way." The stepmom took off, and the little boy came out from underneath the table, thanking the cheese seller for hiding him. But the cheese seller replied, "It's not safe to come out yet. Stay hidden underneath the table. I will deal with your stepmom." On the dot, the stepmother returned, and the little boy hid underneath the table once again. The stepmother asked again, "He wasn't up there. Have you seen my stepson run by?" The cheese seller replied, "He came back. You just missed him. If you buy some of my sheep cheese, I will tell you where he went." The stepmom was still a little annoyed, but now that she knew what goat cheese tasted like, she wanted to know what sheep cheese would taste like. So she bought some. This time she took a cat-sized bite. It was better than the goat cheese. The cheese seller pointed down Clinton and said, "He ran that way." The stepmom ran down Clinton. The little boy reemerged from underneath the table, but the cheese seller hushed him back. As the stepmom returned once again, she asked once more, "He wasn't down Clinton either. Have you seen my stepson run by?" The cheese seller replied, "He just ran past here. If you buy some of my buffalo cheese, I will tell you where he went." The stepmom couldn't wait to eat the buffalo cheese, and like a dog, she took big, greedy bites. But the buffalo cheese didn't taste creamy. It tasted nutty. So the stepmom asked, "Cheese seller, is this really buffalo cheese? It doesn't taste right." The cheese seller replied happy, "Of course it doesn't taste right. That's not buffalo cheese, but cobra cheese made from cobra milk." Upon hearing those words, the stepmom fell down dead. The little boy came out from underneath the table and thanked the cheese seller for freeing him from the evil clutches of his stepmom. He ended up becoming a regular and bought her cheese every week. The end. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much for reading such an amazing story, Valentino. And the next person I would like to invite is Eileen Leon Gutierrez.
Hi everyone. I'm excited to be here. This is my first time doing something like this, so I'm excited. I'll be reading 2 poems for you all, 116, 118. Okay. Senses. I can't remember me, the past or the present, me. I'm never the same. I try and think, but the crashing taps of a bouncing leg, consuming, I can't stand to hear it. It's blank thoughts and fear. I stand at the edge and freeze. Lava rocks. Under my free edge, where it meets my nail bed. Hyponcium. Remove it. Sensation. Deshaciéndome en lágrimas porque no pude quitarme las uñas. Since I was small, I can't seem to get them out. But I want nachos, and the drive back home, past the freshly irrigated almond fields. Lion. Lion. Lie in. Lying. Lying. Male lions are the king of the jungle and are desired by lionesses. He'll form a group and he'll keep them safe. He'll keep them fed. He'll keep them. They'll kill him. They'll choose him. Passive, submissive, dependent. Female lions will kill a male that doesn't protect, provide, and care. You don't care. They're the king of the jungle, and you believed it. The lion said it.
Thank you so much, Eileen, for reading that. All right, the next reader I would like to do is Stephen Arena.
Who's that guy? Oh, right, that's me. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. I am a little disappointed that we weren't able to fill in all the seats. We could all be uncomfortable together. But I'm grateful for all of you who did show up. Now, I'm a guy that usually likes to talk about depression and the kind of things that make people feel bad. Fortunately for you, this story has none of that. So, get ready. If you haven't read it in the last 30 minutes, so this might be a spoiler because I'm just going to be reading the end of it. Alright. Keeping you spry on your toes was fun. A specific staff with fuzz was to train your senses, but you could have done better. I had other methods for you. The lead tool used to write seemed a much more effective and severe way to get your reflexes in good shape. Occasionally, you make a few strikes on me and even cause me to bleed. I initially was angry, but realized you were improving. I didn't mind the scratch you gave me. I liked how you were becoming more capable and able to fight for yourself in case of any strays wished to fight you while invading the borders. Having your scratches made me feel a weird sense of happiness. If you bite me, I won't mind. If you make a mess, I will clean it. If you cry out to me, I will answer. Because you have chosen to remain at my side. Because you're my kitty. Meow. As I lay in bed with my hands behind my head, ready for what tomorrow brings, I heard a sound. Not a meow or a but a and suddenly I feel something jump on my bed. You walk on my body like I'm your bed, rubbing your paws to fluff me up like a pillow. You curl up in a ball, purring and resting, like you couldn't do it without me. Meow.
Thank you, Stephen. I laughed so much at that story. Thank you for doing such, great cat noises and sounds. And the next person I'd like to introduce is Audrey Bergen.
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to be here and to read tonight. I'll be reading Overlooked on page 127. Cold floor beneath me, noises abound. Heart beats rapidly, nails click, click, click. I look out of the bars of my cage to see my fellow inmates pacing. It's visiting day, and people pass me by without a second glance. I'm too old for them, too energetic, too broken. The scars people have left on me laid bare for all to see. As a woman and her child stop in front of me, my heart leaps. When she takes the child's hand and leads them away, I rest my head on my paws and wait for the future that may never come.
Thank you so much, Audrey, for reading that wonderful, wonderful piece. The next person I'd like to invite is Cassidy Tao.
Good evening, everyone. This is my first time ever doing a reading, so I'm pretty nervous, but hopefully I get through it okay. The poem I'll be reading is titled When You Leave, and it's on page 121. When someone important leaves your life, it leaves a mark on your heart. To my great-grandma, who lived a long life. To my cousin, who jumped off that building. To my uncle and ya, who were taken by cancer. To my netai, who couldn't leave that bed and gave up. To my yutsi, who probably died of a broken heart. To my friends, who each lost a sister. When someone loses their life, it's not their death you should remember, but the memories of the life they lived, of the life they want you to live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cassidy, for that wonderful poem that you read. The next person I would like to invite is Dawn Parker.
Thank you all so much for being here. This is my first time being published, so I want to thank all of the amazing people at High for giving me this amazing opportunity. I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my short story Conjoined, which is on page 34. All right. Mother is on the phone with the school again. She hasn't stopped pacing since the ringing started. She has nearly chewed through her bottom lip. She always does this when school calls, or when anyone calls about us. We sit together, watching her pace, watching her chew, watching her wish we could just be normal. Mother told us once that she had prayed for twins. It was strange to the other mothers. Most feared twins. 2 for the price of 1 wasn't always the best, especially when everything else would cost double. But Mother had wanted us, really wanted us. That is, until she found out. We were born conjoined, attached, connected. The doctors didn't realize this until we were born. An emergency C-section was the only way for us to survive. Mother's scar is jagged from the rush procedure. The only part of us that was attached was our brain, our thoughts, ourselves. Father was disgusted. He hadn't wanted twins, had prayed against Mother. He told us once that he thought we were a monstrosity when he first laid eyes on us. Many fathers are afraid of failure, we're told. Ours was simply afraid of association. Father is rich, generational wealth. He threw money at doctors for treatments, for surgeries, for anything to relieve him of the sight. Mother said that she didn't care, but Father was so set on separation that she went along with it. It was one experimental surgery that finally appeased Father. One surgery, 27 hours, nearly $1 million. One brain split in two. They reconstructed the backs of our heads later. Another surgery, 14 hours, $500,000. Mother said that she cried. Father said he cheered. Success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for reading that. So our next reader is going to be Joseph LaForge.
Thank you all. Thank you, Hi, for this opportunity and my first ever poetry reading like this. I'll be reading two poems that are connected on pages 158 and 159, titled Gravekeeping 1 and Gravekeeping 2. Verdant hills stretching to kiss blue night, overflowing with the brilliance of stardust. Endless expanses of light and life above and below. Lonesome rabbit hides amidst tall sentinels, redwoods of ancient stature and might, who stretch ever closer to pink cotton candy clouds and yellow-hued skies. Siren song of chipper dolphin echo throughout, joined by millions, becoming the chorus of depths who sing of worlds unknown, vibrant with life and deep with mystery. Rain caresses orange poppies, falling into mirrored waters where kind doe drinks crystalline perfection, eventually dancing off into ancient winding avenues. Pale blue dot, nestled in the third, beacon of life, our world is paradise. Cracked, barren wastes lurking underneath a layer of toxic fog, remnants of sin. Withered remains nod to dust, screeching winds berate leftover husks. Ancient protectors lie prostrate, grasping towards a smothered and ashen sky. Churning muck mashes against once pristine cliffs, eroding and breaking upon refuse. A black void, vast, empty, and lifeless, mirroring far above. Poisoned moisture singes black the barren desert. Malevolent and malformed ground gives shelter to none but shrieking phantoms, winding through decrepit and desolate streets. Stone gray speck lost its little space, wandering aimlessly, monument to negligence, our world is lost.
Thank you so much, Joey, for reading those two wonderful pieces. The next reader would be Elizabeth McBurdy.
Well, first I would like to thank Hi for the opportunity. This is very nice and it's been very fancy. And yeah, so I wrote a quick statement on the way over here. I was like, oh, I gotta remember to touch on these steps. I'm like, this poem, today I'll be reading critical analysis from the two poems I submitted for this journal. This poem was a part of a collection of poems where I experimented with form. These poems took the form of C++ code, a script, and an improv game, and the piece was placed as the conclusion as a response to the other pieces. It's a collaboration between science, motion, Spanish, and more. As a result, I thought it was best to be presented as a defense to an analysis. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, so I might sound a little hollow.
You're good.
Okay. Critical analysis. Be vulnerable, sensitive. Put yourself into your work. Common criticisms. But I refute that I do. Buried in abstracts and fragments, placing contradictions from foundation, hidden roots and cracks. It's all about presentation. No person writes the same. Y más de get nos rep on. Must I carve out my veins into strands, dissect them before their eyes, and braid them? Teach from the pen, dripping from red plasma, blood cells stain the papel brown, shrinking, feel copper as a diffuser. Butcher my brain into the ceruleum, and brainstem, fried into tacos and treat them to a spread, with appetizers formed from fingers and nails. Dust half my bones off from the museum to be researched. And a thesis about art. Detach the rest to perform the art of bone broth, to keep my reader lukewarm in my cold readings. Compare the size of each ear canal. Remove my tongue and vocal cords to decipher the texture of mis palabras for current and future use. But all I say is, okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for reading those pieces, Elizabeth. I would like to introduce Angelia Lianos, sorry.
All right, hello everyone. I see a lot of familiar faces out there, so thank you, Hi, of course, for the publication. And I'll be reading two poems. The first is on page 103, and it's called My Birth from the Earth. Porque yo nací de la tierra, regresaré cuando se acabe mi tiempo. Because I was born from the earth, when my time is up, there is where I will return. What God had the tenacity, the talent to form me out of clay that can only be found deep within the earth's body. It's no wonder they say I have a soiled heart, porque la madre tierra me dio su corazón. Because Mother Earth gave me hers, which is to say I love so freely, so carelessly, I crumble under the weight of those who claim to love me back. So may the river that flows through me from heartbreak carry my tears to the beds of the thirsty. Let them swallow the love within me. Porque te amo como amas mi dolor, como amas lo que yo no soy. Because I love you as you love my pain and everything that I am not. Which is to say, I would bloom 1,000 gardens within me, only to tear myself apart to feed the hungry. Let them eat from the pain I harvest within me. Recuérdame mientras haces esto, mientras comes de mi dolor. Remember me as you do this and as you eat from my pain. Which is to say, I was too holy for this ground, to hold me in one place, to hold me in one piece. The earth gave me her heart so that I may inherit her love and pain. And when the time comes, I'll give her my body so that I may rest in peace. And the second poem I'll be reading is on page 107, and this is called Recuerdos y Legados. Madre, do I carry your bloodline well enough to justify the months you spent carrying me? Or is my poetry unfinished, premature, naive, a child too eager to live but too small to survive? Mother mine, teach me how to raise a child, pass life through my body and into every poem I create. After all, what ship passes through the river without thinking, if not one eager to claim whatever land it finds? País in peace, unclaimed white territory, how these pages know not the grief and joy my mind will inflict upon its earth, all in the name of a woman, mother, saint, I wish to honor.
I'll move on to our next reader, Michael Steiner.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. I'm just going to read a couple of poems. The first one's on page 130, and it's called The City's Spirit. The concrete has a heartbeat. I can feel it as I pound my steps in the hot sun, or underneath wet clouds, or through the fog to the apartment I inhabit. Giant body of a slain existence, its memories whispering to me every night while I sleep. Even the streetlights have a voice, while engines purr in anticipation and car tires squeal in anxiety or excitement, like they were saying, let me go, just a moment ago, before, in fact, being let loose down the resigned asphalt. Something breathes on me while I travel through Fresno, in a big bus longer little blood cell car, zooming through a being, digesting beings, giving birth to beings, some great thing made up of all these little souls. And I'm going to read one more on page 134 called 10 p.m. Walking Home. There is nothing I like more than walking through cornfields at night. With the half-shrouded moon above, I can see everything in the dark. Walking through the cornfields at night, my path is lit from divine adjacent light. I can see everything in the dark. A silent coyote slinking through the orchards. My path is lit from divine adjacent light, the light that shines through the clouds in the sky. A silent coyote slinking through the orchards, sharing my view from the other side of the trees. The light that shines through the clouds in the sky, there is nothing I like more than sharing my view from the other side of the trees with the half-shrouded moon above. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Michael, for those two wonderful poems. The next reader I'd like to introduce is Deborah Bento.
So it's also my first time reading, and I feel like I've been waiting 50 years to do this because I'm 53. So,
Yeah.
Thank you. The poem I'm going to read is called Generations. The mindful matriarch, she was regal, with manners of a queen. She was beautiful, but never seen. She preached posture, she wore pearls. She drank English tea with warm milk swirls. The quiet queen, she was perfect. With no secrets revealed, she was gorgeous, but never healed. She preached truth, she wore dresses. She hid behind lies with a lot of messes. The pliant princess, she was smart, with secrets of her own. She was pretty, but alone. She preached love, she wore crosses. She pushed through pain with grief and losses.
Thank you so much for reading those pieces, Deborah. So the next person I'm going to be introducing is Eduardo Espinoza Gonzalez.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. And what I will be reading is on page 146. So please turn your books. Okay, and this one is titled Universe 060903. In an infinite space, in the realm of possibility, like shards it reflects glimpses of me, each polished by ones like me, and yet aren't. Universe 10993. If my uncle never went to jail, would I never be compared to him, free to spread my wings, soaring over apprehensions of eyes, watching my every move? Universe 2309. Love non-existent to my mechanical heart, in my scrap-built body, watching as my Theo's marriages crumbled before my gigawatt-powered eyes. Universe 3309. If my parents never met, each thriving in a galactic cityscape, inherently happier as I'm engulfed by non-existence. Universe 040402. My voice never silenced by fear of being heard by vile giants, in which I scream to my heart's content. Universe 50930. A time in 1985 when promises we made I don't feel the burden to keep, where they don't mark every step and every fingertip I leave. Gotta turn the book around for this one. Universe is 60038. As a turtle overlord revered by all, estamos orgullosos is not the words I seek, watching the world fall to praise me. And you skip over to page 147. Universe 3283994. As my father's guardian angel, he never lost his family to the sands of time. Free to chase his dreams, I watched the hourglass of life, engulfed by his smiles, without his descendants fearing losing theirs. Universe 060903, a failure by definition, with its flaws and cracks, instead of a leaf in the wind without a care in Universe 40034, all my worries cut into me. They burn me with every bruise, every daydream, every heartbreak. The perfect universe is far out of reach. Instead, there's universe 060903, molding me to fit in between the gaps. Perhaps not the prime of universe 1, but the sublime version of me. Just a continuous cycle of wonder of who I could have been. Whether it be the villain of universe 30099, the dictator of universe 20000, the frog overlord from universe 3, there's no correct choice. There is no end to the madness.
Thank you so much, Eddie, for reading that wonderful, awesome, universe piece. The next reader I'd like to introduce is Katie Quigley.
I just want to thank first Hi for having us, and then also Maida Vang, because these are poems I worked on in her class last semester, and I don't think without her help and Brandon's that they would be published or where they are. So the first one I'm going to read is on page 155. Don't run on wishes. Brew the drip and cover the scent of decay. Remember the feelings of childlike wonder, to be filled with unguarded curiosity. Perhaps I left it in the field, covered up by the construction of new house developments where I used to play pretend. Days start heavy, drenched in trauma sweat. Dreams have become a stranger, a foreign concept. Emancipated, my neglected soul weeps. Intimate love is now a threat. Wasted alone if I never learn. Waiting for me to slowly relight my candle after hate snuffed out the wick. Take the bliss drug from the doctor, disable that chemical imbalance. Romanticize the impregnable life. Comfort in melancholia's security. Change doesn't run on wishes, yet I'm here, soul healing. My last poem I'm going to read is called Crimson Birth. It's on 156. Baby bird, don't avoid the entrance. The world seems overwhelming all at once, but it's ready for you. Hurry before it's too late. Don't let the humans make home a battlefield. Birth leads trauma. It's real. They want to see your wings expand. Prepare to fight. Get far away before you're knocked from the nest or be damned. The men with rifles that want you for Christmas dinner. You may be a whole-ass meal, but baby, you aren't made for slaughter or entrapment or to be domesticated. Clean off the remains of what was. No man or woman can tame you.
Thank you so much, Katie, for reading those. I think all those revisions and all that came out of you, so props to you for writing such wonderful poems. And the next reader I would like to introduce is Audrey Burwell.
I just want to thank Hi for publishing my work first and foremost, and thank you to all the organizers of this event, and also thank you to my MFA cohort and my mentors, Maida Vang and Bryn Saito. I'll be reading 2 poems tonight. They are on page 100 and 101 respectively. The first one is titled, My Womb, a Bruised Apple. Flesh-threaded maggots, the maw of a weeping god, scattered above meadows of ash, battlefield, slaughter churned, broken blood and bludgeoned bones, a death dove pinned with wings bent backward, against a ghost-white sky, frost-chained rust dripping down thighs, burst slicked, a death chamber exhumed from skin-cut glass, shattered upon a wasteland painted Prussian blue. My chest, a cathedral of clouds, earth embers glowing between breaths, tongue oozing excrement, a flood of ravens fire bright, beaks glimmering obsidian carve my image anew in a salt-drenched basin, spilling lilac tears, bride beds submerged beneath a starless sea, eyes lacerated in darkness, Let my footsteps fade into snow. This next one is titled God of Sleep on 101. Watercolor light prisms into a gray expanse, sleepless civilizations quickening underfoot, an urgency, a dormancy, an anticipation. The land of dreaming awakens, slumber starved, calling home to those who left for another life, gates webbed in the luminescence of stolen flesh. Frost veins reap silence from deadened night, coveting the heat of decay. Bodies still tombed, a season of memories sealed in severed bone. We have all wandered the wasteland of dreams, sand shifting through shuttered eyelids, lost in the moon glow of the endless. Thank you.
I just want to say, it's so great to see so many people here today, and, to all the amazing writers, and thank you all for reading. Thank you, Jefferson. You all did such an amazing job, and, thank you all for submitting for High this semester, this year. And thank you to all my officers for all the great work, and Professor Miter Vang, who's helped advise and guide us along. I'm going to be reading 3 poems for you all. They're all kind of together as a kind of series. They're dedicated to my mother. It starts on 135 and then just goes on to like 137, I believe. Yes. Things my mother did. Dear me, remember when Mom used to make lists on yellow Lego pads, leaving them on seats or chairs next to the dining table, the way she cooked whenever someone asked, or when she would always leave the water running in the morning so we could wet our face, and all that time the trees are making their endless lists of falling leaves. The sky listing its treasures in rainfall. Perhaps Mom wrote to stay rooted in the green earth, bleaching the sky and painting the walkway with her list. Sincerely, me. And the next one is titled, Talk to the Moon. Dear I, every night, Mom would take me to talk to the moon. I would ask you, how are you? Is your night going well? Are you lonely up there under the charcoal sky? Are the stars keeping you company? Now that tradition has collapsed. Still, I gaze up at the moon. Its face winks at me. Thank you, moon, for holding my gentle hands as I cry pink pearls down my face. I know it's rough to rise every night. Thank you, moon, for listening. I will wear you in my eyes, along with crescents dangling from my ears, and your body etching itself into memory, because you're just like my mom, beautiful and bright in smoking night. So I'll keep talking, if that's okay. Hope to talk soon. Me. And the last piece is titled Wallflower. Remember, Mom, when I used to call you Wallflower? Every time I was near you, the smoking scent of your perfume dissected my nose, and my shoelace arms would wrap around you, clipping together our yellowed hearts like 2 magnets of opposite attraction, south, north. We became natural together. Since you've been gone, I no longer see spring or smell winter. And now I'm always facing north to north. North to north. Thank you.